Welcome to Earth Science. This class is going to be a little different than the classes you've taken before. This class is considered a flipped class with mastery learning. Now, how is this different? In the new style class, you, the student, are in charge of learning. The focus is not just on completion, so not completion of activities, but on how much you learn and how you progress. So those are the two things we're looking at: how much you learn and how you progress. Now, why did we change this class so much? Why do we have something that's different than what you've done before? Well, the focus needs to be on learning and not just completion. So that's the big thing right there, learning. We're going to move lecture time outside of class so more work time can happen in class. Now, granted, actually, the way it's actually set up, you will have some time in class if you want to watch the lectures. The lectures are no longer me staying in front of the class, everybody listening at once. Instead, it'll be like this, a recorded video lecture. You can watch at your own time. You can pause. You can fast forward. But by having the ability to move that lecture time outside of class, we have more time in class to work, to discuss, to talk, to interact. And we just need more work time to work individually. And a big part of the reason for this change is every student learns differently. And because of that, there needs to be options. And not just options, but there needs to be that time where we're not having everybody doing the same thing every day at the same pace. You can work at your own pace. Now, granted, if you do work slowly, you may have to do some work outside of class. If you work quickly, you may get done early, and that's perfectly okay. Now, the general outline of class is this. You'll have to complete various learning opportunities. Now, learning opportunities is just a new word I'm using for, well, what we used to call assignments, but they're different. You have to complete various ones of them in order to be able to take the assessment for each unit. There's a minimum amount listed for each unit. You should choose those activities that you believe will help you learn the best. Not the ones that are the easiest, not the ones that are the quickest, but the ones that actually help you learn, the ones that you like to do. Now, some of the learning opportunities will be video lectures. There are no more whole class lectures. Instead, you'll watch short video lectures on which you need to take notes. And that's the important thing. You need to take notes. And you have to show these notes to me in order to be counted as being completed. And you also, an important thing that we're going to state in class, but you have to ask a question about the lecture. You cannot just be a passive listener. You need to actively be listening to these lectures, writing down notes, and writing down questions you have. What doesn't make sense? What do you need more information about? What do you not know? You need to show each completed learning opportunity to Mr. Donovan, to me, where you'll be asked questions over the objectives covered. Now, you can take quizzes whenever you're ready. These are not graded, and that's an important thing. Quizzes are no longer graded. What they are is a way for you to assess what you learned up to that point. If there are things you just didn't get, then you know what you have to go back and see. Now, once you get a 75% on the final assessment for the unit, that's our magic number here, 75%, you can move on to the next unit. If you don't get 75%, well, you have to redo some things. You have to complete another learning opportunity that deals with the objective or objectives that you did not show mastery on in the assessment. Now, I'll show you what objectives look like, but pretty much it's the main ideas. If you didn't understand that main idea, then you need to do something that deals with that, so you get to know that better. Now, after you complete the additional learning opportunity, you get to retake the assessment. I'm not going to average them. I'm not going to use some sort of fancy math. What it is it's the best score. So if you get 60% the first time, and so 60% the first time, and then you get an 80% the second time, you know what your final score is? An 80%. That's it. So I'm only going to take the best score. Now, it's not going to be the same exact assessment. It's not going to be the same exact questions, but we'll be going over the same material. Now, even if you get above a 75% the first time, let's say you get an 80% the first time, but, that's a low B. You don't want a low B. You want an A. Well, you can retake the assessment, but you still have to complete an additional learning opportunity. You have to do something more in order to retake it. Now, part of your overall grade will be based on the progress you make. So it's not just how well you do on the test, but it's also at the rate you progress. Because I need you to keep working. You cannot just sit there and say, oh, I'll do everything at the end and try to get done. No, that just doesn't work for this. About every 2 or 3 weeks, and it just depends on the schedule for our class and when midterm is, there will be a progress check, and you're going to receive a score for how far you progressed up to that point. this becomes a permanent part of your grade. Progress will be indicated by how many learning opportunities you have successfully completed up to that point. So if an A, let's say, is you complete the first unit and one of the subunits on the next one, a B maybe you complete the first unit. A C is you complete 2/3 of the first unit, something like that. And so that grade will go down as your progress grade. Now your overall quarter grade, which goes on the grade sheet, will be the average of your best test scores, your progress, and participation. So your progress will be 5% for each of your progress checks. So 3 of those means that's 15%. 35% for your final progress, where you're at the end of the term, or end of the quarter, adds up to 50%. Your average of your test scores will be 40%, and then participation is 10%, which means that you aren't wasting time in class. Just because you got something done in the first 10 minutes doesn't mean you can take the rest of the time to goof off. If you're playing a game, if you're chit-chatting about something else, I may take away participation points. You have to remember that class time is for learning. It's not there so you can catch up on the gossip in school. It's not there so you can try to get a better score in that game. It's for you to learn, so you need to be focusing on that. And I will take 1% or 2 or all of them away if you are not doing this. Now that's a whole letter grade, so if you're not using your time effectively, I may only give you one warning. After that, that's it. You start losing points. Now this class is designed so you may learn not only the way you want, but also at the pace you want. You do have to get somewhere at the end of the term, and that's an important thing. However, if you waste time and do not do learning opportunities quickly enough, you will not learn well and you will receive lower scores. If you're having trouble with something, you may have to do work outside class, but that's okay. You can always come in before school, after school, and you can work on your own. You need to maintain a minimum progress rate or you will fail. Time can be spent outside of school. So even though I am making all this time in school to do this, you will have time outside of school also to help. Now this is an example of the first unit's objective sheet. Now this is not exactly what you're going to get showing you the first unit, but it's mostly completed. So the first unit, you can see Unit 1 up here. Unit 1 is broken into 3 sections: atmosphere, atmosphere layers, energy, atmosphere. Each section then, so here's our first section, has different objectives. So here are our objectives. Describe the importance of atmosphere to planet's life, outline role of atmosphere water cycle, list major components of the atmosphere and other functions, describe how atmospheric pressure changes with altitude. This is all stuff that you should be able to do at the end of the unit, at the end of the section, really. Now, in order to do these, well, we have learning opportunities, which help us learn this. We will have the lecture video, which you can watch. You can either download from Google Docs or watch on YouTube. You will have questions out of the text, which means you have to read the text first and then answer the questions. I'll have answer sheets for the questions, so after you show me your answers, I'll say, okay, you did a good job or you didn't, and then you'll be able to check your answers. And then we have the other activities or labs that you'll have to complete. Now for this first unit, we're going to work these together to begin with, just to see how to do things, and then you'll be let loose. And you can see that pretty much every section has the video and the book questions. Those are important. Now you can also see a minimum completed. So the first section here, you have to do at least 4 out of the 5. The second section, you have to do at least 3 out of the 4, and the last one, 3 out of the 4. So really, I would suggest you do the lecture video first and the book questions. I would highly suggest those are definitely 2 of the ones you always do, and then do some of the activities. I would not do the activities first, and there's a reason for this. It's how you learn. Either one of these will help you get good base of knowledge, and then the activities will help you really learn it. So you need that base before you can do the activities. So looking over this sheet, you'll be able to see where you're at. You'll be given another information sheet telling you how the progress grade will be handed out, so which pace you need to be going, so you can see if you're at an A pace, a B pace, or less. And honestly, the way this is set up, because you can do work outside class, before school, after school, in your study hall, especially if you have a study hall with me, there's an easy way for you to get an A. All you got to do is do the work. All you got to do is learn. All you got to do is ask questions. So the big thing is, if you have questions, ask me those questions. Write them down, but you have to ask them. And that's a big part. Since this is different, it may take a little while to get used to this, but if you have a question, ask it.